The time by Caracas is 6 p.m. and this is CBX Business News. The business news headlines are brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible. EU backs MSME modernization. Haiti meets IMF targets and Kenya holds rates. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Wednesday, April 8, 2026. I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for joining us. Coming up, the European Union expands digital support for MSMEs in Jamaica, helping businesses modernize their operations and compete in a technology-driven economy. Also ahead, Haiti meets key International Monetary Fund targets despite a seventh consecutive year of economic contraction. And later, the Central Bank of Kenya holds its policy rate at 8.75% after 10 cuts, but warns that oil price risks could pressure the outlook. Stay with us as we unpack these stories and more right after the break.
Are you a business owner ready to grow your business through content? Or are you a content creator who is ready to transform your platform for real profit? Then you need to be at Grow Your Wealth 2026, hosted by Learn, Grow, Invest. On April 18th, we're bringing together entrepreneurs, creators, and industry experts for a powerful one-day experience under the theme Grow Your Business Through Content Creation. If you're serious about growth in 2026, this is your room.
It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Feeling so good right now. Yeah, yeah. It's feeling so good right now. Don't never ever ever wanna calm down. No, no, no. Yeah, yeah.
The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments. Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with expanded digital support for Jamaica's small businesses. The European Union, EU, is expanding its digital partnership with Jamaica, rolling out support aimed at helping micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, MSMEs, modernize operations and compete in an increasingly technology-driven economy. Speaking at the launch of Jamaica's Artificial Intelligence Readiness Assessment, Head of Cooperation for the EU delegation to Jamaica, Aniceto Rodriguez Ruiz, says the initiative includes digital transition support services tailored specifically for Jamaican MSMEs.
On the digital side, and beside the support to this report, we have a very strong digital portfolio shared with Jamaica, including supporting the integration of digital competency into the curricula of all publicly funded teacher training institutions, expanding broadband internet access to schools across the country, and also the provision of digital transitioning support services for Jamaican MSMEs, as well as enhancing the competitive environment of the telecommunications sector.
He says Jamaica is one of the most active participants in a broader Latin America and Caribbean digital partnership.
On a more wider regional aspect, the whole Latin America and the Caribbean. The European Union is partnering with all these countries through the EU LAC Digital Alliance, where Jamaica, I have to say that is one of the most active and proactive actors and is leading in the Caribbean region on this regional EU-funded program.
That was head of cooperation for the EU delegation to Jamaica, Aniceto Rodriguez Ruiz. Meanwhile, a major expansion in support for small businesses is underway as the REAP Entrepreneurship Program adds 2 new cohorts. Speaking recently at the 5th REAP Entrepreneurship Conference, founder and executive director of Young Men, Young Women of Purpose, Lanisha Roden, announced the launch of cohorts 13 and 14, marking the first time the program is expanding with 2 groups simultaneously.
We would like to actually launch officially cohorts 13. Do I get my math right? Cohorts, not just one. And this is the first time we are launching 2 cohorts together. So please give a round of applause. Officially, we want to launch the cohorts 13 and cohorts 14. And the name of those cohorts is the Flow Foundation Entrepreneurship Program, REAP Edition.
She says participants will receive training and support designed to help rebuild and grow their businesses.
6 weeks, 2 days per week, in-person training in all areas of business management, including health and wellness. You get an opportunity to pitch for funding for your business and participate in the field trip, speed dating, and all the activities that we shared earlier.
Founder and executive director of Young Men, Young Women of Purpose, Lanisha Roden. We move now to a warning over rising fuel costs. Jamaica's economic outlook could come under pressure if global oil prices remain elevated for an extended period. That was the warning from Mayberry Group Limited's chairman, Christopher Berry, who says crude prices holding at around $100 per barrel for 6 months could push Jamaica into negative growth territory.
The fuel prices probably will remain elevated for some time because a lot of damage to the Middle East infrastructure is going to take years to rebuild. Because we're in the middle of the war right now, I think maybe prices may be higher than they would normally would be, given the actual supply out there. But it's very uncertain. So people feel, hey, it's priced up. So if it remains at $100 a barrel for 6 months, you're looking on, you probably can expect a negative 1% growth in Jamaica. And if it remains longer, that could be worse or better.
He is also urging the government to establish a task force before surging fuel prices cascade throughout the economy.
I think, though, that the government should look at trying to put in place some policies which will offset the big increases in the cost of fuel, because in the fuel that we consume as consumers in Jamaica, there's a big SCT charge, which hits us in our electricity bills, it hits us in our fuel prices. And these are expenditures that the average family can't really offset. So what that means is that, your fuel bill goes up, your light bill goes up, your food bill is definitely going to go up because it's all being transported. So your discretionary income goes down. Your discretionary income goes down means there's less money circulating in the economy and less taxes for the government and a smaller economy.
That was Mayberry Group Limited's chairman, Christopher Berry. In financial news, Consolidated Bakeries is reporting a return to profitability, reversing losses from the prior year as improved operating performance lifted earnings. The company posted profit before tax of 10.9 million Jamaican dollars compared with a $19.6 million loss a year earlier, marking a significant turnaround in core operations. After accounting for taxes, Consolidated Bakeries recorded net profit of $6.9 $2.5 million Jamaican dollars, recovering from a $12 million loss in the previous period. The improvement came as gross profit strengthened to $643.9 million, up from $582.5 million, reflecting better cost management and operational efficiency across the business. However, administrative and distribution expenses remained elevated, continuing to pressure margins and limiting the pace of earnings growth. Despite that, the return to profitability signals stabilization in the company's operations, with management also benefiting from stronger other income and improved financial positioning during the year. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Wednesday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 116 stocks, of which 45 advanced, 46 declined, and 25 traded firm. Leading the winners are MFS Capital Partners, Sterling Investments USD, the Limnas and Bards, and Caribbean Assurance Brokers, while leading the losers are First Rock Real Estate Investments, Cygnus Credit Investments 10% Preference Shares Class H, Express Catering, and Elite Diagnostic. The main index advanced by 195.80 points to close at 341,072.31 points. The junior market index declined by 26.62 points to close at 3,313.71 points. It's time for the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. As we wrap up our investment education series, today we look at the final term, zeal. How devoted of an investor are you? Zeal refers to having strong enthusiasm and commitment towards an investment program. It reflects the diligence and dedication an investor shows in managing and overseeing their portfolio. One clear sign of zeal is the time spent researching opportunities, analyzing market conditions, and ensuring investments remain aligned with established goals. It also includes monitoring performance, reinvesting earnings, and staying informed about market developments and regulatory changes. Ultimately, consistent attention and commitment help investors stay disciplined and better positioned to achieve long-term success. That was the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next. The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, Tease the Senses, and Pulse Investments.
I'm trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
I'm also trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
Start a conversation with the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Check jamstockx.com for information and a list of registered stockbrokers. You can also call the Jamaica Stock Exchange at 876-967-3271 for information on how to begin. I am achieving my financial goals.
I'm achieving my financial goals.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. Haiti has met all key targets under its International Monetary Fund (IMF) staff-monitored program, even as the economy remains under intense pressure. The update, released on Monday, follows a virtual review of the program, which allows the IMF to track economic reforms but does not include funding or formal board approval. The fund reports that benchmarks were met in revenue collection, international reserves, social spending, and the primary fiscal balance. However, the IMF warns that Haiti's economic conditions remain fragile. It also noted that rising global oil prices, driven in part by Middle East tensions, are increasing fuel import costs and pressuring government finances through higher subsidy demands. Ongoing insecurity, political instability, and recent natural disasters are also weighing heavily on economic activity. At the same time, real GDP has contracted for a 7th consecutive year, while inflation remains elevated despite some recent easing. Despite these challenges, international reserves are projected to reach about $3.4 billion by the end of 2026, providing a buffer against external shocks. Meanwhile, the Haitian government has requested an extension of the program through June 2027 to support continued economic reforms and stability efforts. Rising global energy prices are increasing government spending in Grenada, adding pressure to public finances. Speaking during a post-cabinet press briefing on April 1, Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell made a startling revelation, noting the government is absorbing a significant share of higher fuel costs.
Obviously, fuel is a major challenge. Gas prices have gone up, certainly for the 100-pound cylinder, by as much as $60. For the record, the 40-pound cylinder has gone up as well. The government continues to subsidize this as much as by $20+ for every cylinder. So every time you pay $40 for a cylinder of gas, the government is paying the next $20.63. And so the public has to understand that we are subsidizing electricity costs for anyone who consumes up to 99 kilowatt hours. There's a $10 rebate that goes to Grenlink that the government is paying for. We've zero-rated a long list of items from the time we came into office, where no VAT is paid, so that we can keep the prices down. So we continue to monitor. If the gas prices, we have a standing policy. If fuel goes above $17 at the pump, the government will seek to subsidize it and cushion the effect on the public.
While the intention forms part of the government's, or rather while the intervention forms part of the government's efforts to ease cost of living pressures on consumers, Mitchell says the support comes with significant fiscal implications.
The fact that we need the resources to do all of the infrastructure work that we've put out here, we have to be very prudent in not jumping to subsidize things simply because there's an increase in price, because in doing so it means there's less revenue for the infrastructure work that we require, and that is ongoing. So we'll continue to monitor the situation. We believe, we are optimistic, notwithstanding what is happening in places like the Middle East and Ukraine. We believe in diplomacy. We certainly believe that many countries around the world believe in diplomacy, and we're hoping that greater diplomatic efforts can be brought to de-escalate the wars and the tensions, de-escalate the rhetoric, and hopefully bring the international community back to a place where we spend more time on dialogue and diplomacy and resolving conflicts rather than wars and fighting. But because we don't have control over those things, we have to be prudent in Grenada in terms of how we manage the fiscal position.
That was Grenada's Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell. In financial news, MedCorp Limited is reporting improved profitability for 2025 as strong cash flow and cost control supported performance. For the year ended December 31, 2025, revenue held steady at $121.7 million Trinidad and Tobago dollars, while gross profit reached $64.5 million. Operating profit totaled $22.3 million, with profit before tax at $20.4 million. After tax, total comprehensive income rose to $18.2 million, up from $15.4 million the previous year. Earnings per share also increased to $2.37. Total assets stood at $225.8 million, with shareholders' equity rising to $98.9 million. Meanwhile, the company generated $24.5 million in operating cash flow, supporting expansion. During the year, MedCorp raised $14.7 million following its stock market listing and paid $7.8 million in dividends. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 24 securities, of which 9 advanced, 3 declined, and 12 traded firm. Today's winners are the West Indian Tobacco Company, Trinidad Cement, Massey Holdings, and Prestige Holdings, while leading the losers are National Flour Mills, Trinidad and Tobago NGL, and Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All TNT Index advanced by 5.47 points to close at 1,336.04. The Composite Index advanced by 3.14 points to close at 930.55. The Cross-Listed Index advanced by 0.09 points to close at 69.53. The SME Index remained at 91.16. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next. Welcome back. In international news, the Central Bank of Kenya has kept its benchmark interest rate unchanged at 8.75%, pausing after 10 consecutive rate cuts that began in August 2024. Policymakers say the current stance is appropriate to anchor inflation expectations and maintain exchange rate stability, while flagging risks from rising global oil prices. Governor Kamal Thage warned that the ongoing Middle East conflict is disrupting supply chains, lifting energy costs, and adding uncertainty to the global outlook. Meanwhile, Kenya's annual inflation edged up to 4.4% in March from 4.3% in February, but remains below the central bank's 5% target midpoint. Meanwhile, global health authorities are also moving to strengthen coordination in response to emerging cross-border risks. The World Health Organization, WHO, has announced plans to establish a global network of One Health institutions, a move aimed at strengthening collaboration across health, environmental, and agricultural sectors. Speaking at the One Health Summit in Lyon, France on Tuesday, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom says the initiative will connect scientific institutions, research centers, and training platforms under a unified framework.
WHO is also planning to launch a new global network of One Health institutions to deliver the objectives of the One Health Joint Plan of Action, which we will invite our quadripartite partners to join. This unified network will bring together scientific institutions, research centers, and training platforms across regions and disciplines, drawn from across our agencies and the global scientific community. Its purpose is to strengthen collaboration, bringing greater coherence, coordination, and shared direction.
And that announcement comes as the WHO also moves to strengthen its internal scientific capacity. The Global Health Organization has also announced the creation of a new science division and the establishment of a chief scientific role at the executive level. Director General Tedros Adhanom says this aims to better equip healthcare workers with the skills needed to deliver quality care worldwide.
For the first time in the organization's history, we created a new science division and created a new role for chief scientist, who sits on our executive management committee. In 2024, we also had the honor of opening the WHO Academy with President Macron here in Lyon as part of the transformation. The Academy is a new institution to translate science into policy and action by equipping health and care workers, policy makers, and the WHO workforce with the skills and competencies they need to deliver health for all, especially capacity building at country level is its focus.
That was WHO Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom. And turning to inflation trends in East Africa, Tanzania's annual inflation rate held steady at 3.2% in March 2026, matching February's figure and marking the lowest level in 9 months. Price growth was unchanged across several categories, including alcoholic beverages and tobacco, recreation and culture, and insurance and financial services. Inflation eased in key areas such as food and non-alcoholic beverages, housing and utilities, and furnishings and household equipment. However, price increases accelerated in transportation, restaurants and hotels, clothing and footwear, health and miscellaneous goods and services. On a monthly basis, consumer prices rose 0.8% in March, up from a 0.5% increase in February. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
Caribbean flavors and fragrances. It started out as a small family-owned business, and now we're a part of a large group of companies. Being listed on the stock exchange allows us a certain prestige. It also speaks to accountability and transparency. We had some fears about getting our information in the public domain, but once we contacted the Jamaica Stock Exchange, who have the knowledge and the experience to guide us, we were comfortable with getting into the process. If you have any doubts about being listed, just give the Jamaica Stock Exchange a call. They'll be very happy to take you through the process and also provide you with information that you may need. Make that call now.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, EU expands digital support for Jamaican MSMEs, targets growth. Regionally, Haiti meets IMF targets despite 7th consecutive year of economic contraction. And internationally, Kenya holds rate at 8.75% after 10 cuts, flags oil risks. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
From seed to sale, Jamaica's future grows through innovation. Introducing Export Jamaica, a global market intelligence and compliance gateway that connects your effort with global opportunities and makes international trade easier, safer, and more convenient for Jamaican businesses. Powered by the Jamaica Trade Board Limited, Export Jamaica is designed to position your products competitively and guide you through international trade. Find high-demand international markets. Gain access to trade analytics that guide your business decisions. Identify and engage with potential buyers. Know your costs up front. Trade confidently. And keep your exports safe and secure. Through Export Jamaica, you can discover all there is to know about exporting and grow your business sustainably.
From the processing of your goods, to packaging and shipping, to seeing your products reach international shelves and enjoyed by customers abroad, Export Jamaica provides the market intelligence and insights behind each step, helping you identify demand, understand export pathways, and unlock financial growth.
Say hello to a prosperous future. Visit tradeboard.gov.jm/Export Jamaica to sign up today. Expanding Jamaica's reach, empowering our people.